And welcome back to another episode of the Double Doing Podcast. My name is Brendan Deek. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. You can also rate the podcast and review the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. It would also be greatly appreciated. I have a very cool episode for you today, as I'll be speaking with actor Bernard Robichaud, who is famous for portraying Cyrus on Trailer Park Boys. Bernard, how are we doing?
Pretty good, Brendan. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for taking the time to come on. Really appreciate it. So before we kind of get into the question stuff, I just want to say the reason I wanted to have you on is Cyrus from Trailer Park Boys is probably in my I'd go top 5 TV characters of all time. So I really wanted to have you on and speak to you.
Well, thank you. That's very kind to say. I didn't think I'd make the top 5 in anything, but
I know whenever I kind of give my list of top TV characters, I always throw Cyrus and people like, why? I don't know, man. The way you portrayed that character, which we'll get into, but I always loved that character, loved that show. It was part of my childhood growing up. So it was great to have you on. But Bernard, what have you been up to lately? What's been going on in your life?
Just living the life in California, bro. Yeah, I just finished doing a voiceover for a new animated series out here. I'm not sure who's picking it. I think Amazon is looking at it or has picked it up for the fall, and got a couple other projects on the go. And my agents are just working on new miniseries right now. So, some irons in the pot in the fire, but I tend not to talk about them too much, just because I find that's just bad juju.
Yeah, I feel that.
You don't want to put the cart before the horse. Just too much stuff can happen, and that seems to have been always my case whenever I brought something up. It's never really panned out. So I just learned over the years that it's better to a still tongue keeps a wise head, Brendan.
There you go. I like that. I like that a lot. So, what are your ties to Canada? Because I know you were born in America, correct? You are
Yeah,
US
yeah,
okay,
exactly. And my parents were Canadian.
Okay, cool. Where were they born?
In Halifax.
Halifax. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I did read somewhere you played hockey growing up. Is that correct?
I did, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, played a lot. I don't think if you're Canadian and you don't play hockey, you probably don't have any friends, because
There you go.
everybody else is out playing hockey.
Yeah, that's how I met most of my friends playing hockey growing up. So it's definitely correct on that. Do you still follow hockey? Like, are you a sports guy at all?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've got quite a number of buddies that are in the business, or or still playing, or were in the Hall of Fame or something like that. So yeah, I continue to watch it. Yeah.
Sorry, do you have a favorite team?
Any Canadian team that makes the playoffs and takes home the cup again would be awesome. So right now I'm hoping for either Calgary or Edmonton to kind of hang in there.
What about other sports? Are you an NFL guy, MLB guy, like any?
Yeah, I watched it. I used to be a regular Pats fan when Brady was there.
Okay.
I probably don't watch it as much now that he's over at Tampa, or maybe going back to Tampa. I don't know. I mean, it's the nice thing about the NFL is there's only 16 games. So, if you're just hoping for one team, I used to just watch the one game and that would be it. So it wasn't kind of like trying to follow baseball or hockey or any of these other sports where there's 80 to 120 games or something like that. And that just seems to be over the top for me. So I'm just too busy to be sitting down. That's kind of like watching episodic TV. I don't tend to watch that either, because I don't have the time to binge watch stuff. So yeah, I just watch movies. That's typically what or documentaries or something like that. That's typically what I watch.
So I'm a Philadelphia Eagles guy. So the Double Doing Podcast is based off the Eagles. So we beat your ass in 2017. And maybe is that why you don't watch it anymore?
No, that's not it. No.
Just play with
it.
No,
but thanks for bringing that up, though. Yeah, that was awesome.
All right. I want to kind of get into your career here a little bit, Bernard. So how did you get into acting? Like what was kind of your intro into it? Is something you've always wanted to do? Kind of take me back a little bit here.
No, I thought I was always play professional hockey or basketball somewhere. No, I was going through I was modeling at the time. An agent in Toronto told me that she couldn't use me. I should be an actor. That kind of fell on deaf ears for, I don't know, a year or so. I was going through a tough time in my youth. Wasn't the best of youth growing up, and a friend of mine told me I was going to end up in jail if I didn't find a better outlet than beating up people or getting in fights on the weekends. And he suggested I go audition for theater school. And his opinion meant a lot to me. So I went to audition for a theater school, and they told me that I had some talent, but I'd never be an actor.
They were damn wrong.
Yeah, they were, but there's lots of people there every day. So
Yeah,
I didn't take it to heart. I just never really believed people that told me that it couldn't happen, it wouldn't happen. So I never took no for an answer for most things that I set my mind to, and after it was happened, and after I started doing my acting, I guess it kind of felt good to prove somebody else wrong again. But
yeah,
I think there's always people in this world that will always try to hold you back for whatever the reason might be. And I think most people just need to understand that and kind of, believe in themselves and move on, do it.
Well said. Well said. Definitely chose the right path. That's for sure. So you started a few shows and stuff before the Trailer Park Boys kind of came together. I believe it was like 2001. How did it come together for you to get into the Trailer Park Boys? Like, how was the audition process like for you? What did you have to travel somewhere? Like, how did that all come together?
I was living in a couple hours away from Halifax at the time, and got a call from Barry Dunn about 9:00 in the evening on a Friday night, asking me if I could make an audition for this show, that Mike and he were putting together. I mean, I had heard about it. I mean, I knew about it. I went to see I had seen the original black and white movie with Barry Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
He just said there was no guarantees, but Mike wanted me to audition for this part, and could I make it? And so I drove those 2 hours in the morning, had an audition with him around 11:00. It finished with me around 40 minutes later, after, trying to abuse me with name calling and stuff like that, and put it all on tape and sent it off to Alliance Atlantis at the time that was producing the show. Monday afternoon, Barry called me and said I had the part.
Nice. Do you know how many people were auditioning for that part? Because I'll be honest, like, they could not have nailed it better. Like, you literally are the perfect fit for that role. So, like, they 100% made the right decision. Do you know how many other people like you had to beat out for it? Because like they couldn't have made a better choice.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I did. Barry Dunn had mentioned to me at one point that Michael Ironside, Alliance Atlantis, wanted Michael Ironside to play Cyrus, and then when they had seen my audition tape, they looked at Clattenburg and Dunn and said, "Where the fuck did you find that guy?" So I guess I guess that's the only guy I know about, or at least was heard about. And whether or not that's true or not is another story. Sometimes things are said to make the actor feel like they were the right choice, or make them feel euphoric in some way, I guess, or elated. I'm not sure. I mean, Michael Ironside might have been a good pick for the role too. He's always played like a bit of a heavy, so
definitely would not have been better than Bernard Robichaud. I'll tell you that.
Thank you, man.
So you get to filming. What were you thinking during the first season of filming? Because the show is filmed like a lot differently than other shows, right? Like, it's a mockumentary style. So like, what was your kind of maybe your first thoughts on like your first maybe few days of filming?
Got a job.
That's a good answer.
That's it. I wasn't thinking anything more than that. Got hired, got a job, working with some great people that I've worked with before, and that's I thought nothing more of it than that. I don't I don't get too I don't think too much into that kind of stuff. They hired me for a reason. I think that's the best thing you can take away from that. Once you start thinking about those things, I think that's when your insecurities and stuff come into play. I never ever did that. I learned early in the game that wasn't the thought process to take into any kind of job that you were hired for, especially in acting. It's a tough enough business as it is, let alone to be second guessing yourself once you get on set about your talent or what you can do in front of a camera or any of that stuff. So it's probably one of the reasons why I don't watch myself on TV either, or anything that I've done. I just they hired me for a reason. I thank my lucky stars that I got hired, and whatever they do with whatever they shot with me involved in it at that time, that's good enough for me. If when they say they're moving on, so am I.
So you don't watch yourself at all? You never watch a show?
No? I haven't. I know. I've watched some pieces where I wasn't involved in. I've gone to a few of the premieres and stuff like that. I tend to look at the floor when I look at the floor when my parts come on, or I know my parts should be coming on. I mean, I read the script enough times to know when that's supposed to happen. I don't need to see myself. It's just a little strange for me to see myself up there and listen to myself.
No, fair enough. I think that's actually like a not common thing, but I bet that's probably other actors and maybe voice actors, stuff like that. They don't want to hear or see themselves. You go for a job, you show up, you clock out, right? Like it probably makes sense. So I got to be honest. When I think I was about 8 or 9 years old when I first started watching the show, and I thought it was real at the beginning.
Yeah.
I full on thought like this was some sort of reality show. Bernard, is this still a thing? Like, do people still come up to you or talk to you and act like this was still real?
No, not anymore. It did when it first started happening. There was a number of people that happened a lot where people would come up to me and give me the hairy eyeball and, say, "What are you doing? Those guys are so nice guys, and you're running around with a gun and scaring them." Like, you do know that's a TV show, right?
Oh man.
Well, yeah.
So you had to give people the news, like, you're not actually Cyrus. You're not actually Cyrus, right?
No. It's interesting. Look, the format changed the course of television. So, I mean, it was really the first time anything like that was shown. I would say that Trailer Park Boys put reality TV and that sort of genre in place. It was the beginning of all those things, and Weeds and The Office and shows like that. Clattenburg was a genius. He saw it way before anybody else did, and kudos to him. He's a good guy. Deserves all the credit.
Did you so maybe after the first or second season, did you think it was going to maybe have like this much momentum? Like, did you think it was going to take off like this? Like when you clocked out of season 1 or clocked out of season 2, did you kind of leave going, you know what, like I'm about to be a superstar?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
I don't even consider myself that now. Other people
you are, Bernard, man. You're damn right a superstar.
a lot of people do, I know, but I don't know why they do. No, season 2. Rob Wells and I were looking at ourselves before we did the classroom scene in season 2 and looking at each other and saying, "Geez, man, we got another 7 episodes." And I said, "I know, like, right? I mean, that's kind of cool. It's like one season all in 2 years. It's 13 episodes we had done. We were going to do it." I thought, well, yeah. We were, again, we were happy to be working.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking that was the line where it was 7 more episodes. Geez, I hope it lasts. That we weren't thinking that season 3 was going to happen. I think season 3. I think somewhere between 2 and 3, it's took off. Yeah. No, we weren't. I certainly wasn't thinking that anyway. I'm not sure. I can't speak for everybody else, but I sure as shit wasn't thinking that. No.
That classroom scene where you talk about the grade 10 scene, that's maybe one of my favorite, maybe one of my favorite scenes in television history. You got to be kidding me line. It gets me every freaking time. It literally gets me every time. I absolutely love that scene. So, your character in the show, just if people haven't watched it or any of my audience, is basically like an antagonist of the trailer park. You're basically just causing ruckus in the park for the people that are living there. It's kind of in a nutshell. Why do you think this role fit to you so well? Like, why do you think Bernard Robichaud and Cyrus just had such a good match and made in heaven?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood like that. I think I knew a lot of those characters from growing up with them. There wasn't much difference between where I grew up and the guys that were like that. I think the difference was the chain link fence that divided me from where I was playing ball hockey or shooting baskets and the guys that were outside of that stealing car stereos. Mm-hmm. It's kind of was the gray link fence. It was kind of a gray area. You went to school with those guys the next day. You chummed around. What they did is what they did, and you did what you were doing. And I think people do what they think is right because that's what they're exposed to, or they don't see any other way. I think those neighborhoods can be difficult for children and youth, and
for sure.
Maybe it's because the parents don't want anything else, or maybe it's because that's all they can afford. And either, regardless of what it is, I still think the idea and what people think about trailer parks in general and what goes on, and I think that's probably part of it. Who knows? I don't think I think there's good and bad people no matter what your tax bracket is.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't really kind of look at people from that kind of perspective, but I do think that growing up in that kind of neighborhood and knowing guys like that, it was easy fit for me. I'm not sure that I wasn't, with everything that I've done, I think there's a little part of me that's a little bit of every part that I play. And I'm sure there's a lot of me and Cyrus in some ways, but I think that once people have talked to me, they find out fairly quickly that I'm not that guy, which is kind of nice. Mm-hmm. Although I think the character was an easy one for people to love to hate.
Love to love, man. He was the best antagonist of all time.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Brendan. Man, I'm not sure that that's the case, but it was a good antagonist, that's for sure.
Yeah. So one more question on the character for the Trailer Park Boys segment. I feel like your character is a little underutilized in the show. Like I feel like the kid maybe dragged out a little bit more of the past of Cyrus and stuff like that. Do you kind of feel that way maybe a little bit? Like do you think maybe just the growth of the character wasn't fully there for you?
I'm sure that I felt at times that they could have utilized the character a whole lot more, and not just myself, a lot of the other characters too, maybe. Mm-hmm. I think there could have been more development in some of the characters for sure.
There's a ton of talent on that show in general. Just like
I think all the other characters got their fair share, did a whole lot more episodes than Cyrus. I'm grateful that for the amount that I did, just because I think that the lack of visibility of the character made people want to see him more, and so I think that those episodes are probably higher rated than most of the episodes, which is kind of a nice little kudos for me. Mm-hmm. And the character, but whether or not they used them less or more, that was really my decision. I think it was a strong character, and I think you have to look at the other characters and what they're doing and trying to achieve as well. So I'm not sure it would have been good for the other characters to have such a dominant character possibly taking over the screen time or dominating it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyrus went in jail, and because it's shot as a documentary, I think you have to kind of make it look like he should still be in jail this season or part of it.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, so who knows? I mean, I'm okay with how it all went down, and clearly still has made a mark. I mean, even after 22 years, I'm still doing interviews.
There you go. Do you still stay in touch with some of the castmates like Rob Wells and whatnot?
Not in touch with them that often. I am going back to Halifax in August for my mom's. So we'll see. Last time I spoke to Mike was he was at a Toronto hockey game, and a buddy of mine, Rod Black, TSN. They must have shown them on TV. So Rod called me and asked me to, see if the guys wanted to come up to the alumni box for the Maple Leafs. So I contacted Mike and said, do you want to go up there? Rod Black is asking, and he said, "Oh yeah, sure, man."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm sure they were well taken care of up there, and I'll probably get a hold of Mike just before I head to Halifax just to see what they're doing and if there's anything that they're shooting on their swear net if they'd like me to drop by or something, and whether they do or not, I will touch base with them for that for sure.
So outside of Sharper Boys, you've had a bunch of other roles. One I kind of want to focus on is Haven, because I actually did watch that show as well. And you filmed it. John Dunsworth was in that, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
What's I guess Haven's project that sticks out to me. Is there another project that kind of sticks out to you that you've done in your career that maybe that you're proud of, besides Shark Park Boys, or something that like you really think about all the time?
No, I don't think of any of them really. To be honest with you, people ask me that question a lot, and I don't. I honestly can't remember a lot of the stuff that I've done. There's some that I do remember. I remember the first role I did. I remember Tiffy from Tiffy character from I can't even remember the movie. See, but it was Lifelines to Victory. It was called.
Okay.
And
that was back in the early '90s, right? I believe
that was. And
that
was a fun role to play with.
Yeah.
Some great actors in that. Let's see, what other ones do I don't know. I mean, I it was fun doing working with Kathy Bates, and I did one with Billy Zane, and Billy was a very gifted actor, and had a small role with James Caan, in another one. Yeah, so I mean, those are probably some of the more memorable ones. Not that I haven't worked with a lot of great actors in the past. I think everything I've been involved with, I would consider anybody that's working on any of those projects are great actors. There's a lot of talent out there, and to be part of some of those and be part of that team or those teams is, I'm blessed, very happy about that. Couldn't be grateful.
So you said you don't watch TV shows. You live in California. It's beautiful out there. What else? What do you like to do for fun? What do you do? What do you do around town? I think I read you're a golfer, I believe, right? You're an avid golfer?
Yeah, I don't golf as much anymore. I golfed yesterday on the Preserve. It's like a $150 million Tom Fazio design.
Wow.
Cut out in the Santa Lucia. It's a private golf course, but I work there. I became a professional caddy out here. So
Okay, cool.
I work Pebble Beach and do the AT&T,
Wow.
TaylorMade, I do, I work Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill, Cypress Point, which is probably the #1 golf course in the world.
Mhm.
Spanish Bay and the Preserve. I got all the top ones in this area in Carmel nailed down. And I love giving back to those that are trying to, have the best round of their life on some of the best golf courses in the world out here. So I guess my knowledge of the game and expertise to some degree has benefited me when it came to golf. I mean, I guess I was always an athlete, so being out there and caddying for whether or not it's a pro or just somebody that's got it on their bucket list and trying to get them around the course is it's quite an accolade. I caddied for Chip Beck for 4 days,
Oh, wow,
five
that's cool.
golf 2 weeks ago. So I get to meet a lot of interesting people. A lot of people have always asked me, like, why would you do that when you're a great actor and you could be out in Los Angeles? And I haven't been able to find an agent that I could trust in Los Angeles since I've been here. I still keep my agents in Toronto because they've always been good to me, and I don't, I think with everything I've done, trying to find an agent, through COVID was almost impossible.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I like that people are just offering me scripts to read and stuff like that at this point in my career, and not standing in lineups, cattle calls for castings. It has become more specific for me, and I'm so very grateful that that's kind of how it's worked out. And it's easier for me to meet a director or producer or somebody at one of these golf courses, quite frankly, than
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
12 million people in California and
Yeah.
Los Angeles. So in that regard, I think I chose the better end of the two. And this is a unique little area that I'm living in because of those golf courses. 6 million people come through Carmel in the run of a year as tourists. So it's probably one of the most recession-proof places I've ever met in the world in that regard. So I feel very, very lucky, very fortunate that this has happened to me. Especially 5 years ago, I was, looking at, I had cancer. So
Okay.
it's a different perspective in your mind about life, and so ending up here and being healthy and being able to take part and walking the top of the grass every day instead of pushing it up
Yeah.
has been a very humbling experience.
Well, congratulations on a clean bill of health. I did not know that you beat cancer. Both my parents beat cancer. It's very close to my family and my heart. And golf is also close to my family and my heart too. I just literally got extremely jealous of you listing off all those golf courses you played. I live just outside of Toronto, the outskirts of Toronto, so about 40 minutes east of Toronto, in a town called Ajax. So there's some nice golf courses around here, not the best. I could basically throw a rock at a golf course from my house. I've got a membership there every summer. So,
that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad, and you get to walk there too. So, and you can play 3 months, 4 months of the year, right? Where you can walk out and go golf whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a 12-month of the year kind of experience out here. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So last question for you, Bernard, before I let you go.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to achieve or accomplish? Like, what are your goals, I guess, for the next 5-10 years or so? Is there anything that you got on your mind, a specific role you want? Tell me what the future looks like for Bernard Robichaud.
No, I'm doing what I want to do right now. I really love doing the caddying. I like that, there's projects in the works for me. I think my biggest thing would be I just want to stay healthy long enough to be able to see my daughter achieve her goals and be able to move on and do her thing. And whatever that may entail. I know she's got some dreams and goals that she wants to attain, and I'd like to be around to see those happen.
That's awesome. Bernard, thanks so much for doing this, man. I greatly appreciate it. You're the man. Like I said, Cyrus and Shut Up Boy is one of my favorite roles and characters of all time. It was a pleasure and an honor to speak to you. Is there anything you want to plug in before we go? Your like social media pages, a project you got coming out, anything at all?
No, I don't want to talk about the projects. Like I said, if people are interested in, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I guess I'm on that social media platform. I do answer emails that are heartfelt and not fuck off, I got work to do. Knock joke again or something like that. So those ones I just kind of delete. But if it's a heartfelt thing and not spam, I tend to answer them.
Oh, that was funny.
That's about it.
I'm sure you probably get a lot of fuck off, I got work to do emails.
I got a few of those. Yeah.
Safety's always off all the time.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Or people ask me to tell them to fuck off. I got work.
That's awesome.
Kind of hard.
Thanks.
You could get beat up for telling when you were younger people, for telling people to fuck off. But now, for the last 22 years, people ask me to tell them to fuck off. It's a strange turn of events.
It's the way life works, man. It's crazy, man. Bernard, man, thanks so much for doing this. I had a blast. You're the best, and all the best in the future. And if I ever come to California, take me golfing, okay?
I will do that. No problem, buddy.